Welcome everyone, and thank you for taking the time to be a part of today's session. My name is Laura, Project Manager from DigiConnect, and we're all excited to have you here with us today. So for today's session, this is the exclusive boardroom on resilient virtual workforce planning, hiring, onboarding, and training, which is hosted alongside with our presenting partner, 4iApps and Oracle. Let me just give you a quick rundown on what we have for today, just so you know what you would expect for today's session. So we will be starting off the agenda with a presentation on a generational shift in the way of managing HCM by Mr. Ronnie Torian from Oracle. And then we move on to a quick brief on 4iApps by Mr. Prem Kumar. And we transition on to a presentation by Mr. Partha Sarathy from 4iApps, wherein he will be discussing on how industry leaders are using HCM Cloud for planning, hiring, onboarding, training with greater flexibility for employees. And then we move forward to case studies discussion, which will then be followed by an interactive Q&A. All right, so without further ado and without wasting so much time, let me call on our first speaker for the day, Mr. Ronnie Torian. Ronnie is the HCM Sales Development and Strategy Leader, for Oracle Africa. Ronnie, I hope you can hear me. Take the stage, please.
Thanks very much, Laura. Let me just, could you stop sharing so that I can share, please?
Yes, there you go.
Okay, Laura, if you can just confirm that you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen, and let's just make it full screen, Ronnie. All right, perfect.
Okay, good morning, everybody, and welcome to this webinar. As Laura said, I'm Ronnie Torian, and I look after the development and strategy for Oracle for the Africa region. I've actually been with Oracle over 17 years already, and have been actively involved in the progress that we've made in terms of how we have transitioned from our on-premise world to our cloud world. And I'd like to talk to you today about how we can help you shifting to meet the employee needs. I think we can all agree that the last year and a half, 2 years have been probably the most difficult we've experienced for a long time as a result of the pandemic. And what we've actually seen is that employees are starting to become very frustrated, very disillusioned, and they feel that HR isn't really helping them, in terms of their career path going forward. Unfortunately, HR has been very, very busy with trying to deal with this pandemic in terms of making sure that health and safety are being looked at, making sure that people that are coming back into the office have the right protocols in place and things like that. And a quote coming out of Josh Bersin is that a lot of the organizations that they're speaking to are looking at refreshing or a new operating model for HR. And they're not really in a position to actually do that, largely as a result of the technology. But in effect, HR has become the center of innovation. And we really need to be driving our organizations going forward. So as we start looking at what is possible, in the world today from a technology point of view, I'd like to perhaps just share a quick video with you around what we consider to be the art of the possible. So hopefully the video runs and we can see that. Okay, so that's just to give you a little bit of a taste of what the future of HR is all about. And really the drive that we have within Oracle is to try to help you make work more human. And effectively what that means is that we will help take care of your business so that you can take care of your employees so that they can take care of your customers. So it's very much a customer first approach that we have. And it's a three-pronged approach. So we look at connecting people, making sure that they have the ability to work closely together in a single solution going forward. We then cultivate your employees and help them to become more enabled and, as a consequence, more engaged in the organization. And at the same time, we give you the ability to create the process that is needed within the organization to be able to drive this work made human concept that we actually have. So if we look at all of these three components, the first area around connection is really to try and help you reduce the complexity with a single unified cloud, allowing you to connect HR to the entire enterprise. So what we have is a complete single HCM suite looking at all aspects of HR. All of the processes and analytics across HR, finance, supply chain, marketing, and so on are all connected. So I'm getting information completely around my business, whether it's around the people, whether it's around our sales, et cetera, et cetera. And that allows me to be able to plan correctly and make faster decisions going forward. So we provide a complete solution that has natively been built for the cloud. We acquired a whole lot of organizations in the early stages when we were doing this development, and we used the IP from that to develop a complete solution that goes from the hire all the way to retire of your people, covering the HR components around making sure that you are onboarding your people, recruiting the people correctly, all the way through the talent management around career development, succession planning, through to managing your workforce around absences, around health and safety, and even to payroll. So it's really giving you the ability from an HR perspective to look at the end-to-end processes within organizations. And because it has the flexibility to also incorporate other areas of our solution around ERP, supply chain, and customer experience, all of that is linked together in a single solution going forward. The second area that we look at is the cultivation. So how do we help you improve the employee experience? And really what that requires is a smart, intuitive solution to help cultivate these people. So we allow you to increase your productivity. We provide AI-powered, personalized employee experience platform. We deliver engaging experience to nurture the development and growth of the employees in your organization, as well as a flexible work environment. And I think that is becoming more and more important as we see the continuation of the pandemic going forward. So one of the areas that we look at, for example, where people are working from home or are unable to contact HR directly, is we provide an HR help desk, which is specifically around HR issues. And what we allow you to do is to create a knowledge base that is available for consistent insights to the individual. So if I needed to find out when is payday, how many days leave do I have, I can go onto the help desk, get that information 24/7. And where there are more complex questions that people might have, those can then get passed to the relevant people. The key differentiator about our HR help desk and other help desks is that this is within the HR environment. So a lot of confidential information and information that doesn't necessarily want to be shared stays within the HR environment, unlike a normal help desk going forward. The third area is really where we start talking about how we help HR to become the center of innovation within the organization. So we allow you to create and design your solution without needing the help of IT departments to set up and change business process flows or whatever structures you have that might be unique to your organization. It is all done at the business level rather than the IT level going forward. So as an example of that, we have something called an experience design studio, where you can go in and create various workflows, configure rules for your particular organization, around your policies, around your cultures. And this is all done without the involvement of IT. So business actually drives this innovation within the organizations. So we look at organizations, and as we are progressing, we realize that organizations need to really shift to meet employee needs. And we use SHIFT as an acronym where there are 5 key focus areas. Firstly, around skills, then health and well-being, inclusion and diversity, which is becoming more and more important, providing the flexibility for employees that they're actually wanting, and at the end of the day, provide a tailored employee experience. So if we look at each of these letters of this acronym, we start off with something called dynamic skills, which you may have seen in the video, where you can have a very clear visibility around the skills within your organization, and then use AI recommendations that are embedded throughout the process to actually provide information to the employees about what skills they would need to have in order to progress and grow within the organization. And linked to that, we also have the ability, if there are skills that you require that you currently don't have, to link that to a learning environment where you could actually acquire those particular skills. So effectively, it's a one-stop shop for employees to be able to manage and grow their skills within the organization. The second area is really around promoting a culture of workplace safety. And again, we have Oracle's workforce health and safety component in here, where you can start looking at managing workplace health and safety hazards and risks that you might have. And this is becoming particularly important during this pandemic in terms of understanding who are your employees that might be at risk. What are the implications of returning to the office? What am I doing in terms of making sure that from a health perspective, it is safe for our employees to come back? And where there are incidents, I can actually take action very, very quickly because everything sits in this single solution. The third area is really around bringing people together and creating this world of inclusion together with diversity. And once again, from an Oracle perspective, we have the concept of connections as well as work-life balance, where I can start being able to align individuals with the organizational goals, improving wellness, improving camaraderie, and basically raising morale by providing things like volunteering projects. So what are the areas that I have interest in around volunteering, and what are those of the company, and how can I work together with the organization to actually make sure that we are achieving those particular objectives around that area. From a flexibility perspective, again, you might have seen this in the video, is what we call our opportunity marketplace, where individuals within the organization can look at what opportunities do we have to grow within the organization. And it doesn't necessarily mean moving to a new job. It could be something around a particular gig, a short project, that might require 2 hours a week of your time, that you can go in and grow your skills with that. And it also allows you then to connect with your colleagues and with your mentors and grow within the organization. At the same time, from an individual perspective, it allows you to promote your personal branding, sharing your skills and accomplishments and experience with others to the benefit of the organization. In terms of providing a tailored user experience, one of the key areas that we are looking at is our digital assistant, which is a lot of people refer to it as a chatbot, but it's a little bit more than a chatbot. It's an intuitive way of actually communicating with the system, with the HR environment, without having all sorts of unnecessary training. So I can pick up my cell phone and actually ask a question, either by typing the question in or speaking that question to the digital assistant, and it will then provide me with alternative answers, or it might link me to a particular business process going forward. And then in terms of growth within the organization, we provide our journeys where people can set up specific journeys around going back to the office, growing your career, your well-being, all of those different processes or journeys that we go through in our time with an organization. And we can start leveraging AI-powered recommendations to trigger personal journeys. So if there is an opportunity for an individual in another division or another branch, it can trigger a notification and step them through the journey with various tasks that need to be done throughout the process. And these journeys are not restricted purely to HR. Those journeys can take you across the application into finance, into procurement, into customer experience, and even into third-party applications if required. So one of the key areas that we are looking at the moment is really how do we start managing our people? How do we start planning what is going to happen? And I know that planning has become a lot more difficult because we don't really understand. If we asked somebody 2 years ago, what was their strategic plan around their workforce, they would have been able to give you a 2-year plan, 3-year plan, 5-year plan. With the pandemic, people are very hesitant. However, we still need to look at strategic workforce planning and making sure that the plan that we have is linked to the organization's strategy going forward. So it means looking at the critical talent and what happens if I don't have this talent in place, what is the impact going to be on the business? So we need to look at, do we have the right people with the right skills in the right job at the right time and at the right cost? So as we start looking at workforce planning in specific, there are 5 key fundamental activities that you need to be looking at. The first area is really looking at an environment scan. So understanding what are the facts and circumstances that surround our particular workforce and what is our organizational strategy. We then look at the workforce profile, understanding what is the demand and what is the supply. If we are moving into a new product launch, do we have the skills available to actually do that going forward? We then start looking at, if we are moving forward and we start doing a little bit of predictive analytics, we can start determining what the organization's needs going forward, what are the emerging trends and issues that we do. We then start analyzing and looking at a targeted future. What is it that we're going to need to do? And then we start looking at closing the gap. So how do we actually make sure that we are delivering the workforce that is needed both for today and for tomorrow going forward? So again, from an Oracle perspective, we have a number of different modules that cover all of these things. So obviously our Fusion Analytics will allow you to analyze your environment, analyze the skills, and then we look at strategic workforce planning, and we also look at workforce modeling and predictions going forward. So these 3 really work very, very closely together to improve the workforce agility within the organization, understanding the impact of changes that are going to happen either within a team or a division or at an individual level, and then allowing you to plan and model to achieve those particular changes that are going to drive your business in the right direction. So at Oracle, we are really at the forefront of being able to deliver all of these things for you. So we have, from a business process perspective, over 5,000 best practice processes that are embedded into our solution. If we look at it purely from an HR perspective, over 475 processes delivered. We have almost 200 localizations around HR, catering for specific local needs around countries. We look at adapting workflows to your environment. So things like promotions, understanding the GDPR, what are the standards in there, and are we compliant in that? We start looking at analytics. So we have, again, almost 500 KPIs and templates that are delivered through our Customer Connect solution, where you can communicate with over 55,000 people that have joined our Customer Connect who are posing suggestions, enhancement requests, and so on. So like you as an organization, we have a customer first mindset. We are spending in excess of $6 billion a year on research and development. And the interesting thing that we have out of that is that 98% of our roadmap items, things that we say we are going to deliver, 98% of them are actually delivered. And we are bringing out hundreds of new features every quarter. Last year in HR alone, we brought out 1,200 new enhancements and innovations. And the interesting thing about that is that those enhancements and those innovations that are actually being put in there, 80% of those are coming from our customers, where customers are going and saying to us, we would really like to see this in your solution. We are bringing that in, and 98% of those are delivered in our roadmaps going forward. And as a result, we've been recognized as a leader in HR in this particular field. From a Gartner perspective, from a Forrester perspective, from an IDC perspective, all of them recognize Oracle as the leader in this particular area in terms of growth, in terms of innovation, in terms of being able to deliver to customers' requirements. So in closing, what we have from an HR perspective is a fully integrated solution with one line of code, one data set, one set of security, and a single user experience. We've made it incredibly easy to use, whether you're on a desktop, whether you're on a mobile, whether you're using our digital assistant. We will be incorporating things like virtual reality and augmented reality to the solution. We're constantly embedding all of the new innovations around artificial intelligence, whether it's machine learning, IoT, Internet of Things, blockchain, analytics, and so on, to provide you with a complete solution that is adaptable to your specific business requirements. So with that, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to speak to you and give you a little bit of insight as to what it is that Oracle is doing specifically in the HR space and how we are helping you to shift your organization to meet the needs of your employees. So Laura, back to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation and insight, Ronnie. Again, if you have any questions, any comments regarding the presentation, please post them on the chat box and we will make sure that they're all responded to. There you go. And from here, I will be introducing our next speaker, Mr. Prem Kumar from 4i Apps for a quick overview of 4i Apps. Prem Kumar, please take the stage.
Thank you so much, Lara. Am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you well.
Yeah. Thank you, Ronnie, for the summarizing it very beautifully on the HR side. I think the audience have got a grasp of what the session is all about. So thank you for this opportunity, and I welcome you again on behalf of 4i to this webinar. So I'm sharing my screen now.
Perfect.
Yeah, can I see it? Thank you. So yes, HR has been the most talked about topic for the past 2 years since the pandemic began. So HR has been at the forefront of leading, steering the companies, managing the workforce. So a lot of mayhem and other things happening. So we thought this would be a apt time to showcase how some of our companies, some of the customers where we work use HCM. So Ronnie discussed about how HCM can be used, and we want to tell you where we have done similar work and how organizations have used our system. So that's the main agenda behind this. So resilience is the key. Survey by HBR, Harvard Business Review, says the organizations that are more agile and resilient achieve 150% greater ROI and 500% return on equity. So that summarizes the whole discussion. So that's where we are looking ahead, and we want our audience also to make choices that is going to help their organizations to grow further. So a quick note, I will introduce you about us, and then I have Mr. Partha who will take over on the HR practices and the case studies and how our customers are innovatively using HCM during this time. So at a glance, 4i Apps, we are a 13-year-old organization. So we are an Oracle partner for 13 years. So we are on the cloud track. We deliver Oracle HCM solutions, Oracle financial solutions, Oracle SCM solutions. So end-to-end delivery of digital transformation through Oracle Cloud, we do that. And we are not new to the Oman market. We have been present in Oman for 13 years. We have been servicing many of the public sector organizations and many private sector organizations. So we are very active in the region. Overall, we have around 450 plus consultants. So we are a pure Oracle shop. We deliver all the Oracle application, business applications. Any point in time, we at least serve 100 plus active customers in a given financial year. And as a company, we are present in Middle East and Africa. We are present in Asia Pacific. We are present in UK and Europe and North America. So we are a global company. So we have offices on all the locations. So we are ISO certified organizations, ISO 9001-2015 certified organization, and also we are undergoing ISO 27001 security, information security accreditation, which is expected in the next 2 months. So these are some of our accolades. Deloitte has awarded us as the fastest growing company for 2 years, 2014-2013. And we were also awarded by Oracle as the volume partner for the business that we are doing at Kuwait. So Oracle manages the partner through expertise. So the more the expertise, better the partner. So please, when you're choosing a partner, please see how much expertise they have on Oracle. And we have built our expertise on financials, HCM, human capital, supply chain, and integrations and payroll. So these are some of our customers where we have implemented HCM, we have enhanced and supported, which includes the like of Bank Muscat, Oman Arab Bank Energy. Those are very familiar names in Oman. And so we are working with My Dubai, Package Drinking Water, Emirates Post Group, Marisco, Omnia, Ondo Energy, Qatar Investment Authority. So these are all our customers. These are some of our representative customers where we have already implemented or currently undergoing implementation for HCM practice. So with this, I leave it to Partha, who is our solution architect. So he's been there in the organization for almost 10 plus years, and he will take you through the HR journey. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Prem. Hope you could see my screen, right?
Yes, Partha. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Prem. Thanks about the brief introduction about the 4 apps, and I'll take it from here. Thank you everyone for joining the session. And as we have seen that the whole world and organization have gone through the crisis period for last 1.5 years or 2 years, let me present how Oracle HCM with contemporary and modern technology facilitating the organization to keep pace with change, as well as being resilient to handle the current pandemic situation. First, we'll go through with modern practice, how it has been linked with Oracle HCM. As modern HR practice includes the complete employee lifecycle with most complete suite of HCM products. Either we talk about the HR processes like onboarding, planning, learning, time management, talent management, or benefits, or we talk about the employee life cycle from their hire to retire. Oracle has all the processes that makes employee experience work better. It focuses on facility, it focuses on flexibility to accommodate unexpected events like COVID. As the process and practice evolves on daily basis, the system has to cope up with that. In that case, Oracle upgrades the application every quarter, as it includes many features. I would say more than 100 features on quarterly basis it is getting added to the application. So there is no any dependence from the IT that they have to upgrade the system on then and there. The system automatically upgrades every quarter with more than hundreds of features enabled by the Oracle. And these features being listed as a document or even being videoed and published to customers, and they can check what is the new features that is available in the application. They can ask vendors or the IT to enable it for their organization processes. It focuses on employee engagement and adoptions. It's not the application just to keep the employee records in the system. It is giving an engagement with the application for the employees. Again, Oracle works seamlessly across the devices, either it is a desktop, laptop, tablet, or a mobile. The flexibility of deploying the Oracle HCM suite, it can work as a standalone, which means the whole ERP can be implemented as a standalone application, wherein the financials, supply chain, as well as the HR can work as a standalone application, or it can be worked as implemented as an integrated with your existing or your legacy ERP system, like Microsoft, SAP, and Oracle. We have done one of the implementation for an by integrating with Ramco, wherein we have implemented the core HR module in Oracle Cloud, wherein they have the rest of the like financial supply chain in the Ramco model. So it is possible that we can integrate it with existing ERP system, or it can be deployed as an hybrid model, wherein your core modules like your global HR and payroll can be on-premise, and the advanced module like talent management, time management, as well as the recruitment and learning can be in Cloud HCM. Okay, so hire to retire flow can be mapped with across the various modules that is available as part of Oracle HCM Cloud. It starts with planning, which is a vital process in the organization. Workforce strategic planning is a module which covers the planning, which will include the compensation planning, non-compensation planning, as well as the demographic graph. Workforce planning provides various tools to plan or to model the future headcount or related expenses of the employee. It can also plan the new hires with their various assumptions, which drives the calculation of the salary and benefits. Existing employees' budgets also can be handled in the system, wherein there is an assignment changes that happens in the organization, like the push promotion, the employee get promoted, or the increments, or the bonus getting budgeted. All these activities can be done through workforce strategic planning module. Once the planning is done, the process moves to the recruitment, where the entire recruitment process being handled in Oracle Recruitment Cloud, wherein it starts from creating the job requisition from the hiring manager, and it moves on to the recruiter, where they would be doing the job posting. Once the job posting is done, and this particular job requisition would be available for the external candidates as well as for the internal candidates. There will be a two different career size that is available, one for an external candidates to apply a job, and one for an internal employees to apply for an internal job transfers. It has a candidate management and various search tools option that is available, and it is integrated as an automated integrated system, which means the system automatically gives you or suggests you the candidates or best fits candidates for a job requisition. Once these job applications have been received by the recruiter, the interview and the selection process can be entirely automated and can be systemized, wherein the interview schedule can be done from the system, and the feedback of the interview can be collected from the interviewer from the system. Upon the selection process, the job offer letter can be defined in the system, wherein the templates can be defined as per the organization templates that is required. And these offer letters can be generated from the system and can be sent to the employee through mails. And the acceptance of this job letter also can be systemized, wherein they can accept or decline. While declining, they can mention the comments why they are declining, and the acceptance of notification would be received by the recruiter. Upon accepting the offer, the employee pre-onboarding and the onboarding process will be handled in global HR process, wherein pre-onboarding and onboarding process, where the system will initiate various tasks to the employee to complete it before boarding to the organization. For example, let's take if there is any NDA that needs to be signed by the employee, it would be triggered as a task to the candidate. I'm mentioning as a candidate just because he is still in the pre-boarding process. So he would be signing the NDA letter, and he would be, let's take if there is a requirement that the employee has to upload the medical certificates or the ROP clearance, or these can be done through system, wherein the system would trigger as a task and the candidates has to apply it from the system. And on day of joining, the system again triggers an onboarding task like taking an induction training, or they have to update the dependent details, or just to verify the personal details that has been entered by the HR, or they have to enroll in the benefits. All these process would be initiated as a onboarding task to the employee. All these tasks that has been assigned to the employee can be mentioned as a mandatory or non-mandatory task, and these task status can be monitored by the HR with various report how many of the tasks and how many employees have completed the mandatory and non-mandatory task. Once the employee done the onboarding, again the absence and the time management is handled in the absence management module and Oracle time and labor module. Absence, when we talk about absence management, it can handle the advanced or various complex logics in absence management, as well as we have implemented the Oman labor law requirements of rules in absence management for various clients. And when we talk about the learning, is again the SCORM files or AICC format files can be uploaded in the system, and the employees can consume from Oracle Learning module. And again, this can be as a mandatory learning item that we are assigning to the employee, or an optional learning that is available in the catalog for an employee to consume. It's up to the HR that they decide while they're creating the courses. Further to that, and Fusion Profile Management covers the employee job description process, and Fusion Goal Management consists of the employee KPIs, where the KPIs being assigned to the employees by the line manager, or there is a process that the employee can create the goals for themselves for the particular period, and these goals will be submitted for approval to the line manager. Once they get the approval of the goals, they can keep updating the status of the goal on regular basis. And Fusion Performance Management covers about the mid-year review and the annual evaluation process. Upon this, there is a module succession management, where this module is used to create the succession plans. These plans can be created either by the line manager or by HR as well. And finally, the benefits of the employee being covered under Oracle Future Payroll. Okay. So HR has been the forefront in handling pandemic-related incidents, being employee welfare, safety, travel, upskill, work from option, etc. Definitely, they would require the flexibility to handle such unpredictable developments. HR has helped the organization to quickly review from the pandemic utilizing. Okay, let us see how Oracle Cloud HCM has helped the HR team to navigate different types. Okay, adapt to work from home culture, monitoring the work using time and labor. There is an option called web clock in and out in Oracle time and labor module, wherein the employees working from home, they can book their time in and out from the system. There is an option as called web clock in and out in Oracle time and labor. So the HR can generate the reports and verify the clocking time of the employee, even they are from work from home. Okay, so HR helped us record service requests from employee, wherein COVID-related emergency could be quickly addressed. The employee would be registering any emergencies that they have faced during the COVID period, and HR can definitely address the issue immediately with the help of HR help desk module. Learning developed as onboarding tool to quickly onboard new hires, reskill existing resources. As I mentioned, as an onboarding process, the employee has to go through the induction training. So this has been covered as an Oracle Learning Management module. From there, the employee can consume quickly, easily, even if they are work from home. Okay, so help desk has been used as a ticketing system or the grievance management across various organizations. It supports complex employee relationship cases, including grievance and disciplinary actions, and identify what is the cases trending at present. So you can the HR can come up with a support or a solution for this particular cases. So this shows the search page where the employee have registered various tickets or the grievances that they have come across. Okay. Oracle Journey is the solution that can help simplify multiple step tasks virtually any process within the organization. So Oracle Journey helps you define many different experiences such as onboarding, offboarding. Again, if there is an employee milestone that has been done, if the employee is becoming a line manager first time in the organization, or a new role being assigned to the employee, or the employee is seeking for a career growth in the organization, what is the steps that they have to follow to achieve that career growth? And finally, if there is any life change events has been happened in the employee history. So just like, for example, he getting married, or the transfer is getting the employee is getting transfer from one location to another location. So the system helps what is the task that he has to perform in these particular events. So for example, so let's take in this case, there is a return to workplace wherein the employee have started coming to the organization once this pandemic period is getting calm. Now let's take as an return to workplace as created as a journey by HR, and the employee has to go through this to-do list before they join the workplace, wherein they take their COVID test and upload their COVID test results and well check, and they have to apply for their PPE kit, and they even the videos can be uploaded in the system wherein it shows how to wear a mask. So various tasks can be created as a journey and it can be assigned to employee. Okay. So when we talk about the HCM advanced control, which is a data security. So data security is the area any organization consider it as very sensitive. In Oracle, data security is in its DNA. Application is capable of configuring various rules or the data restriction that needs to be viewed by the employee. So whenever a new role that has been assigned to any of the employee in the organization, system automatically triggers an approval notification to the concerned person or an IT stating there is a new role that has been assigned to an person. So based on that, the action can be taken whether it is okay to proceed or it needs to be rejected. And there is an option of audit trial wherein any changes that has been done in the application, either it is an employee data or the setup changes, everything being recorded as an audit trial, and the report can be generated at any time by IT or by HR. And finally, and it provides alerts about suspicious transaction, and it is a smart and best practice algorithm. Okay. So some of the case study that we want to highlight to the team, which is we have implemented Fusion Learning Cloud to Bank Muscat. It's a heavy user of Oracle HCM suite. They are using the, Oracle HCM for last 10 years. What are the challenge that they have faced is learning model was heavily dependent on data center and bandwidth, which means the employee from the rural side, they are working in the branch, they're not able to consume the learning, the online training that is being published by the HR just because the bandwidth issue. Even sometimes the bandwidth issue, when the employees are consuming the training or the learning, even the branch ATMs can go down. How this helped the Fusion Learning helped? Fusion Learning Cloud significantly reduced these issues, wherein the employee can take the learning even outside the workplace. Again, Bank must also use Learning Cloud as an onboarding tool during the first lockdown period. The second case is about Omanara Bank. Again, Omanara Bank digital transformation program include HCM as one of the key functions that we have implemented the entire suite for Omanara Bank. Bank was able to achieve the mandate compliance of having employee undergo BCP and AML training, which is anti-money laundering and business continuity planning. These are the mandatory courses that CBO requires bank organization to complete on yearly basis. So during the pandemic time, this was again published as an online course with the SCORM files enabled in the system. So the employee can consume these courses even outside the workplace. So additionally, a pandemic specific extension such as vaccination status, grievance management can what implemented for Omanara Bank. So for example, there is a need from the government that they have to update the vaccination certificate in the system, and it has to be a mandatory thing to come back to the workplace. So there is an option that has been enabled in the system where the employee navigate to self-service and they can upload the vaccination certificates with the dose date details. Okay, again, the system would automatically send an alert message to the employees, those who have failed or missed to update these details. Okay, so the final case study is with the Orlando, which means it's one of the largest integrated energy company in Africa. So we have implemented a full suite again for this particular organization with a module called Workforce Health and Safety, wherein the employee could record or register the safety incident that they have come across. So there was a period where during the pandemic, the employees have got to know that some of their colleagues have got suspicious about the COVID-19. So they registered that as an incident in the system. So immediately the action owner would be taking the action like sanitizing the area, and these details or these incidents, it comes as the detailed report in the application. So this is again a self-service page where it shows the employee able to report an incident. So with that, what are the key takeaways that we have done from this presentation is Oracle Cloud HCM help organization to be resilient and give employees superior UX experience and increase productivity, preparedness for difficult times like pandemic, and it can be integrated with any of the existing system, which gives you again the cloud HCM system, which can handle end-to-end processes, and it gives you a new features that has been released by Oracle on quarterly basis. So that's it from my side. Thanks for the opportunity. Lara, you can just speak if there is any questions that need to be answered.
Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation, Partha, and thank you, Prem, as well for that quick brief. I see that we have questions in the comment box that I believe was answered by both Ronnie and Prem. So if any one of you would like to elaborate on that, we have a few more minutes before we wrap up the session, Prem.
Yes, sure. So let me check the first question. Okay, somebody has asked about integrating with another ERP system. Yes, there is a definite possibility for that. We are already working on one of the project where we are integrating with an SAP system. So it can work with the Oracle system, it can work with the SAP system. So that is not an issue. And secondly, the product licensing, yes, it is subscription based because it's on cloud. There is no upfront license cost. The license is scattered across 3 years. So there is no burden of upfront cost at the beginning. And also there is no upgrade cost involved because usually in an on-premise or a normal system, every 1 year when a new feature version comes, you need to spend money for the upgrades and all. Now that cost is significantly reduced. So you just switch off on the day before, and once the upgrade has been released, and next day morning you will get a new system. So that's how Oracle has simplified in the cloud. And third question on the mobile, yes, the beauty of HCM is it's built as a mobile responsive application. So there is no dedicated mobile application required. So which means that so whatever you see on the screen, you will get it on the mobile. So everything can be accessed from mobile. Ronnie, have something to add?
No, I think you've covered it. I think just on the costing side of things, there are additional things that people don't necessarily take into consideration when they look at the costing. So, you know, all of your data infrastructure, for example, the data center that you have, the security that you need to have, the database administrators that need to be employed, all of those things, because we are running in a cloud environment, all of that gets managed by Oracle as part of the subscription that you actually get. So there are additional savings over and above just buying the software that you as an organization get to benefit from by moving to our cloud solution. On the mobile rendering, absolutely. Everything that you see on your desktop or your laptop, you can replicate on either a tablet or a mobile phone. Obviously, it takes into account the device that you're actually using. So something that would come up wide on your screen on your laptop would be brought down to fit onto the screen for your mobile. but everything that you do, it's completely mobile enabled. There's no application that needs to be downloaded. And the beauty of that is, as you said, Prem, is that as soon as new features are made available, they're automatically available on your mobile device as well. And I think the tendency or the trend that we're seeing is that people are going more and more towards their smartphones in terms of how they work, how they live their lives. Everybody has a smartphone. You go on there, you use it for navigation when you're traveling, you use it to order food online. You might as well carry on using it for your work environment as well. And that's what we've strived to get to from an Oracle perspective.
Yes, and now with flexible work from home culture, so they don't need a specific VPN access or a lot of hassle they have to go through to come to office to apply for a leave or something like that. So now everything is it's pretty easy now. Yeah, that's a good point. And on the data center point, I think you have brought up an important point, Ronnie. I think so Partha was mentioning about the Bank Muscat case study. I think they are spending thousands of dollars for the bandwidth alone to manage their learning. So that was significantly reduced by the implementation of learning management. So even with a normal internet connection, so the team was able to access the learning. So it was a huge success there at Bank Muscat. Yeah, and I would also like to thank Mr. Sajid, who has joined. He's from the National Life and General Insurance. Thanks for your kind words, Sajid. We would look forward to continue our level of support with you. So thanks for joining this presentation.
All right. Thank you so much, Prem. Thank you so much, Ronnie and Partha. Thank you again so much. So 5 seconds more, and we really appreciate everyone who has attended today, everyone who has joined us today for this session. And we hope that you found everything valuable and beneficial for all of your organizations. All right, so we have finished the poll. I will be thanking and wrapping up this session now. And thank you again, Prem. Thank you, Ronnie. Thank you, Partha. Thank you, 4i Apps and Oracle, and for all of our attendees who took the time to be a part of this session today. Have a good day, everyone, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers, everybody.